Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to your wake-up call. It's Tuesday, January the 16th, and we are so glad you're here with us this morning, bright and early. Remember, these wake-up calls are available for you Monday through Friday, 8:15 Central, 9:15 Eastern, and we hope not only have you made this a habit, but also that you're inviting others to join us on this wake-up call. What a great way to start the day. We are in chapter number 41 of the book, The Little Things Matter, by Todd Smith, and we have got a really great chapter for you all today. So I'm going to just dive in here and read it to you. We're going to get some perspective on it from Jamie, and then we're going to close this out. So chapter 41, Earn Respect by Practicing Humility. Comedian Rodney Dangerfield complained about it. Parents demand it. Professional athletes expect it. Respect. Everybody wants it, but not everybody gets it. Respect is not a gift. It is something you must earn. Take the professional athlete as an example. We might admire him for his skill or envy his $1 million salary, but we respect the athlete for the effort and attitude he exhibits on the field or court or during an interview. What is the attitude that quickly wins respect? Humility. An attitude of humility is one of the most significant predictors of someone who is revered. Humble people have a modest view of their own importance. In order to adopt the habits and behavior patterns of humility, it is important to recognize its evil nemesis, arrogance. Very few things damage one's reputation quicker than arrogance. Just as people can sense if someone has a good or bad attitude, they can also sense if someone has an arrogant attitude. An arrogant attitude is often communicated by one's bragging, but it's also revealed by how one treats other people. Arrogant people are prima donnas, vain people who find it difficult to work as part of a team, often pushing others aside, believing they're the only ones qualified to get things done the right way. When working on teams, they come across as overbearing and egotistical, and they are quick to dismiss the ideas and contributions of others. By contrast, a humble leader allows others on the team or at the table to express their views. This spirit of humility allows leaders to expand their options when working on a project by drawing on new ideas of the people with whom they are working. One of the challenges for most high achievers is finding the right balance between communicating with confidence and humility. This can be tough, especially for entrepreneurs and salespeople whose livelihood depends on marketing themselves and relying on their accomplishments to obtain future business. We want to appear as confident in ourselves and in our services we offer, but we don't want to cross the line so that we appear prideful. To help understand these qualities, let's look at the definition of confidence and humility. Confidence is having a self-assurance arising from an appreciation of one's strengths and abilities. Humility is having a modest opinion of one's own importance or rank. There's no reason why these two character traits can't coexist. In fact, when they do, it's hard to find a more powerful combination. The key is to do so without coming across as egotistical. Here are a few tips to communicate what I call quiet confidence. Let your prior record, actions, and associates speak for you. Avoid what would sound like boasting about yourself or your accomplishments. Limit the times you speak freely about yourself and your achievements. Acceptable times are those occasions when you are communicating the value you bring to a personal or business relationship. Consider how you can communicate your message in a way that does not sound like bragging. If you will be giving a presentation to a group of people, tell the person introducing you the high points of your accomplishments that you feel people should know. It is always better for others to speak of your achievements than for you to do it. By its very nature, humility is not an attitude we ever perfect. It's a lifelong endeavor that requires constant monitoring, especially since arrogance, egotism, superiority, and conceit is always tugging at our human nature. He goes on to challenge us today, and here is the Little Things Matter challenge. Start being aware of what you say when talking about yourself. Limit the times you speak about yourself and your accomplishments to those times when you are selling yourself. When you do need to sell yourself or your services, remember to communicate your message in a way that remains focused on your client or customer and what you can do for them. If you are in a leadership position, make sure your team members can sense your appreciation for them and their contributions. Don't ever forget that humility is an attitude, and everyone can sense who has it and who doesn't. And so with that, wow, that was a great chapter. I'm going to turn it over to Jamie to get his perspective on it.
All right. Well, so there's so many things, I think, when he was, reading the chapter and going through the chapter, there's some things that, consistently popped up. A couple of times he mentioned, bragging and working, in a team. And so I think, when you really look at humility, it really starts with authenticity. And it's just a lot of these little things, right? And I think as you finished up the challenge, he said, everyone can see someone with humility, or, kind of vice versa. Everyone can see someone without humility. And so it's just being aware, being consistent of so many little things. But I think when you have the comparison of confidence and humility and authenticity, right? I believe it starts with authenticity. When you are confident in yourself, when you're confident, not in an overbearing kind of way, you're confident in God's purpose and God's plan for your life, that God has made you fearfully and wonderfully made, is one of Holli's favorite verses, that God's put you here for a plan and a purpose, right? Then you can have confidence in that. That's not a overbearing, that's not a braggadocious, that's not a something that is, all about yourself. It's a confidence in yourself, and it allows for humility, right? And Jesus was a perfect example of servant leadership, and inevitably that's is right in with humility. But as he said, it's something that has to be constantly monitored, right? And so when you step back and you say, when I'm communicating, how does it come across, right? When we jump on these calls and always think, gosh, if someone is just on this call for the very first time, and maybe you're here for the very first time, and you don't know who Jamie and Holli are, you don't know, who we are, but your first representation is, how we deliver a message, how we, share our experiences, whether it's today on humility or on, the things that are shared. And so it's always kind of being aware that I think one thing that that just keeps kind of resonating is it's not about you, right? It's not about Jamie. It's not about Holli on this call. It's not about any individual, person in any situation. It's about, how you can help and impact others, how you can be, authentic and share, what, these are the things that I've been through in confidence, in humility, to be that for other people. So anyways, I know it's one of those things that so many times it's just humility is kind of an intangible thing, right, that you just can't put your finger on it, but we all know, those humble people, right? You all say, gosh, that's someone who really has humility, but it's just a whole lot of little things that kind of add up together that really, involve just, kind of putting others first, caring about others, not putting yourself first, how you communicate, so many little things, but yet you can be humble and still have confidence in not really, who you are, but more importantly, whose you are, can give you that confidence that allows you to walk in humility, right? And so it's just a constant thing that's monitored, right? And if you really, really look at all of the little things that we talk about, I think they're all that way, right? It's everyday kind of saying, well, how can I, be better at this? What is it that I can do versus looking at wow, that person does that, or wow, they should change that. It's not about that. It's about looking internally first. And that's, I think, authenticity. That's humility. But that's also really is confidence, right? When you have confidence to look internally, right, it's not about, backbiting and talking about others. It's about, looking internally and saying, what can I do better in particular situation? Always look at kind of confidence and humility kind of as, a bully, right? A bully will tell you how great they are. And, my dad bullied me all through my life, right? And he always would kind of, hold so many things over me and talk down and bully. But at the end of the day, right, those things stem from insecurity. They don't stem from confidence, and it doesn't stem from humility. And so when you can walk in humility, I think you don't have to do a lot of those things. You don't have to, talk about other people. You can look at it and say, gosh, how many of us all know a bully, and what happens when you stand up to a bully? They actually really, those things stem from insecurity. And the same thing, in humility or unhumility, if that's even a word, it stems from insecurity. And so have grace on those that, don't have that humility, but also realize that it comes from a place of insecurity. And sometimes it's a check ourselves, right? And where does that come from internally for us personally? Is it coming from an insecurity that we, have to maybe, can't work with a team? Does it come from insecurity that we maybe when we talk about things, we have to talk about ourselves? Does it come from, insecurity that, a message is delivered in a certain way? And so when you look at it, I know it's kind of all over the place, I guess, but it's such an intangible thing that really, if someone is humble, you will probably never hear them say, I'm a humble person. It's just quite the opposite. They'll just operate in a silent confidence and a silent humility that just allows, as he said, their actions to speak for themselves. So hope that made sense, kind of all over the place, but I'll turn it back to Holly to finish it up.
Absolutely. Those are some great words, Jamie. Thank you for sharing. And I'll just pretty much sum it up by, we all know people who think they're all that in a bag of chips. We all know people like that. Like they think they're just walking around and they're all that in a bag of chips. I want to encourage you this morning, don't think of yourself as all that in a bag of chips. Walk around with God confidence, because here's what I know to be true. God will promote you. Leave it to God to promote you, and you can never, ever go wrong. Have that God confidence. And again, I think, working on this daily for all of us is a great challenge. I think it's a really great challenge. And I'll wrap it up by saying the last thing that he says in this chapter, one of the rewind, back up. No, that's not what he says. That's what I said. This is what he says. One of the admirable traits, I couldn't say that word, one of the admirable traits among high achievers is humility, that rare quality of being modest and respectful. And I absolutely love that word at the end, respectful. I was raised and I was taught that you treat all people the same. And whether that is a CEO of a company, or whether that is, a waiter or waitress in a restaurant, or whether that's a janitor at the school, you treat everyone the same. People are people. And I just want to encourage you today to really take a self-evaluation and just ask yourself, am I walking around like I'm all that in a bag of chips, or am I walking around with God confidence? So we love you all. We appreciate you joining this morning. Continue to tune into these and make it a daily part of your waking up, a habit, and invite those that you think that they might want to join you on this call too. It's all about paying it forward and passing it along. Monday through Friday at 8:15 Central Time. I'm going to turn it to Jamie to unmute.
All right. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Let me unmute everybody.
Thank you.
There we go.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job,
Jenny.